Really?
They can't hear you.
Over there. Okay. Well, welcome to the July 13th, 2020 meeting of the Dauphin City Council. I thank Deputy Mayor Riel for handling the duties in the last two meetings in June. Apparently, she's a full-fledged, I can't think of the word now. I had it all in my mind, and veteran. Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of. So thank you very much, Carrie, for your duties. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land known as First Nations territory, homeland of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, and Métis Nation. There's no changes to the agenda. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts the regular agenda as presented. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, the regular Council meeting of June 22nd, 2020. Any errors, omissions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. So the moved by
we do not need that one.
No,
because we're not excusing anybody. So
everybody's here? Yeah. Okay. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council now adjourns to hear the public hearing as scheduled. Council will now commence to hear representation from the applicants and other persons who wish to make the representation for these scheduled public hearings. Anyone who has not registered for the public hearings but wishes to speak during the hearings, please state your name so we can include it in the proceedings. And for the first one, Marnie Bednarski is on Microsoft Teams, correct? That's Marnie there. Good. We will now proceed with the public hearing for the revised variance application 1202-282-100/VO/20 hyphenated 0202/02 for owners Marnie Bednarski and James Cole, and applicant Marnie Bednarski for Lot 10, Lot 3, Plan 1419 DLTO 101 Forest Avenue West to vary the minimum corner side yard setback from 3 meters, 9.84 feet to 0.6 meters from the property line, and allowing a 0.3 meter 1 foot eave to allow for construction of a 24 foot by 30 foot detached garage in a residential family zone, single family zone. Would the applicant like to speak in favor of the application? Go ahead, please.
Sarah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this is just a application for a variance so that we can build our garage a little closer to the front of our property, as we are a side lot. So our house, the backyard really is our side yard, and our house does not face the street that we are on. So it's kind of like it's in our backyard, but because of the way our house is facing, it's in the side lot and it faces the side street of Sandy Street. So we would just like to build our garage so that we can access it from the back lane and still allow for some backyard space.
Okay. Does council have any questions of the applicant for clarification purposes only? Any councilors have any questions? Councilor Eilers.
Yes. Do you have a survey of your lot?
Sorry, I'm just trying to play with the mic. We do not have a survey of our lot, but we found the pins in our yard.
Okay. And do you have a licensed contractor?
We have a licensed contractor to lay the cement pad, and we are planning to build the structure, the garage, on our own.
Anybody else? Deputy Mayor Riel.
So I know that you're, I guess the front of your house would look onto McNeil School.
It does.
Is that accurate that, so by the end of the sidewalk until your garage, is that only 2 feet?
From the sidewalk to the garage would be 4 feet, but the variance is from our property line, which is 2 feet from the sidewalk.
Okay, and are you going to be backing out into that street, or are you backing out on the side into the laneway?
Being able to position the garage in this direction, we will not need street access at all. So it will actually increase parking on the street, and we will be using the back lane for access.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Is there any other person present in support of this application? I see nobody, or nobody's on Teams for that. Is there any person present who wishes to speak in objections to this application? Does council have any questions of the presenter for clarification purposes only? Again. Anybody?
I want.
Go ahead, Councilor Eilers.
Were you asked by Mr. Durkach to show your property lines?
This is our second variance. So in the first variance, we were not asked. We were told to submit a drawing of what we would like, and that the city would take care of the rest and draw up the variance to reflect what our drawing was.
And where, just for so right now, from the sidewalk to the footings of your garage, what's the distance?
4 feet.
4 feet, okay. And it's 2 feet of the property line?
Right, our property line is in 2 feet from the sidewalk, so our garage will be 2 feet from the property line.
Okay. Was that explained to you?
No, it was not.
Okay. Anybody else wish to talk?
Okay, so how is this application today different from the application you made to us before?
Okay, so the first application that we made, we had submitted a picture with what we had wanted. We had drawn in sidewalks, our house, where we wanted our garage. And when the variance was written, when the original variance was written, it was written with the wording 4 feet. It did not state from the property line or from the sidewalk. So we were not, like, when we took the picture in, we were not told, okay, well, we're going to have to play with these numbers so that it's from the property line. We were just told we're going to take care of it. And so our original variance, the picture we submitted was with 4 feet from the sidewalk, but rather than writing the variance with 2 feet from the property line, as it is right now, it was written up 4 feet, and with the assumption that all of the variances are from the property line, which we did not know.
Yeah, I have to start again. The representation for this public hearing are not completed. Thank you to those who joined us in this public hearing. Council will not make a decision tonight regarding this variance application. We will deliberate and will carefully consider the details of the application, and council decision will be final and not subject to appeal. You understand, Marnie? Did you hear?
I can hear. Can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
When can we expect a decision to be made?
Sure. On probably on July 27th.
Okay, I would just like to urge council to decide as soon as possible. We have been sitting with forms in our yard. We have been delayed 3 weeks as it is already. And we have a cement contractor tied up with equipment in our yard for 3 weeks already.
Okay, we'll take that into consideration.
Can I ask one more question, please?
Sure.
How will we receive notification of your decision?
It will be communicated by letter, and it will be delivered to your house.
Is there a possibility of having a phone call or an email just in case mail does not get to us quickly?
I guess we can call.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll call first.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll try to expedite this as quickly as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll proceed with the public variance for Stan. I think you're on the line someplace, aren't you, Stan?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Could we take a look at you?
Yeah, just hang on a sec. There we go.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got a mustache now.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, we'll now proceed with the public hearing for variance application 1204 185200/VO -020-01/05 for owner applicant Stan Burnick for lots 7 and 8, block 1, plan 399, TLTO 8 Merrill Street, to vary the minimum corner side yard setbacks from 3 meters to 9.84 meters, from 3 meters, 9.84 feet, to 1.2 meters, 5 feet, and the minimum rear yard setback from 1.5 meters to 5 feet. Rodney to 0.6 meters, 2 feet from the property lines to allow for a construction of a 30 by 40 detached garage in a residential family zone. Stan, would you like to speak in favor of your application?
Yes, I had a variance order in 2014 that was passed at that time, but I just had lapsed time for getting the garage done at that time. We just had some other things and that was it. So it passed by council on September 22nd, 2014 already.
And we'll do it right away?
Yeah, I prepared already, taken out a demolition permit for the old garage. And get it down and start preparing the base and that too. And I have the areas surveyed already by Balkan Kochecki in 2014. Have the site plans already in place.
Okay. Does council have any questions of the applicant for clarification purpose? Councilor Eilers.
Yes, I would like to ask, is this bigger than your original garage? And if it is, by how much?
It's larger by about 240 square feet.
Okay, it says here 30 by 40. So what was your size before?
It was 24 by 27.
Okay.
Is it the same setback, like?
Yeah, actually, the old garage is sitting tighter to the north property line. It's sitting within 1.5 feet. Actually, I'm coming back into my property line with the new garage.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it was probably at one corner of the garage. It was about 16 inches off of property.
Okay. Any other questions of councilors? Anybody? No. Okay, anybody wishes to speak in objection? I don't think anybody's on the line. Anybody else wants to make a presentation or if anything? No. The representations for this public hearing are now completed. So we're not going to table yours, Dan.
Okay.
We'll right now.
When we get there. I'll show
Yeah,
you- I'll
yeah.
show you when we get there.
Okay. Just stay on the line and we'll read.
Okay.
Moved by Councillor Juba, second by Councillor Lachlan. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the regular council meeting. Be it resolved that, is this one still valid?
Yeah.
Yeah. That the public hearing for variance application 1206-28-2100/VO-20-02/02 for owners Marnie Bednarski and James Cole and the applicant Marnie Bednarski for Lot 10, Block 3, Plan 1419 DLTO 101 Forest Avenue West to vary the corner side setback to allow for the construction of a 24 by 30 detached garage in a residential single family zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw be now concluded. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Riel. Be it resolved that public hearing for variance application 1204-185200/VO-20 -01/05 for owner applicant Stan Burdick for lots 7 and 8, Block 1, Plan 399, DLTO 8 Merrill, to vary the corner side setback and rear yard setback to allow for the construction of a 30 by 40 detached garage in a residential family zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw be now concluded. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? No. Moved by, since there are no objections, moved by Councillor Stick. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Juba. Whereas on September 22nd, 2014, the resolution number 2014-7, Council approved variance application 1204 185200/VO-14-01/10 for owner applicant Stan Burdick for lots 7 and 8, Block 1, Plan 399, DLTO 8 Merrill Avenue to vary the corner side and rear yard setbacks to allow for the construction of a 32 by 40 detached garage to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw. And whereas approval for this variance has since expired, and whereas due notice was given with respect to a new variance application 1204 185200/VO-20-01/05 for owner applicant Stan Burdick, Lot 7 and 8, Block 1, Plan 399, DLTO 8 Merrill Avenue. And whereas no objections were received to the application, be it resolved that variance order 1204/185200/VO-20-01/05 for owner applicant Stan Burdick for lot 7 and 8, Block 1, Plan 399, 8 Merrill, to vary the property lines, the corner, side, yard setback from 3 meters to 1.52 meters, and the rear yard setback from 1.5 meters to 0.6 meters to allow the construction of a 30 by 40 a detached garage in a residential family zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning be approved with the following conditions. A demolition permit and building permit will be required for the City of Dauphin for the demolition of the existing garage and construction of the proposed garage, and all construction shall conform to the Manitoba Building Code. The maximum eave projection permitted is 0.3 meters. No fence, hedge, shrubs, or other horticultural landscape features shall produce a visual barrier greater than 0.8 meters above the average grade is permitted for the corner adjacent to the lane. And building layout and grading is the property owner's responsibility and shall be in accordance with the city policy and approved site plan. 5, lots surface drainage cannot adversely affect the adjacent property. It is recommended that it be done in consultation and cooperation with adjacent property owners. Any questions of councillors? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Carried. So you're good to go, Stan.
Thank you.
You don't get a third chance.
No. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too, Stan. Moved by Councillor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the presentation by Fire Chief Cam Avery of the Dauphin Fire Department. Fire Chief Avery. So this the slimmed down version. Go ahead.
On the voice with the microphone in front of you.
Go ahead.
You're all facing the wrong way.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
should-
Yeah, you gotta spin your chairs around after.
Screen. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council, Administration, for having me this evening. Oh, now we're getting the feedback. Must be the plate in my head. Better. Still humming. Is he on his way? Could be my fillings. Yeah, that too. All right. So once again, thank you for having me here this evening. And what we plan to do is just to summarize the first half of 2020, the calendar year. Everybody should be in receipt of the memo that was drafted and sent forward. So this is from the beginning of January to the end of June 2020. Test 1, 2. Test. That's better. So you can see by the
Test.
All right, how's that? Better? All right, so to the end of June 2020, we had a total of 72 emergency response as compared to 109 in 2019, which is an approximate 34% decrease in our emergency response, which going back through our call volume was the lowest that we could find in the same time period over the past 10 years. And I'm sure if we went back further, we would probably go 15 to 20 years since we've had that low of a response. There's a pie chart there that's been just added in for a visual, but to break down the calls from January 1 to June 30th, we responded to 66 calls within the city limits, which was the equivalent of 2,023 hours. 5 rural response, which totaled 369.5 hours, 1 mutual aid call for 21 hours, and that was to assist Pine River Fire Department with a large forest fire that they had up there. That was at the request of the Office of the Fire Commissioner, and Gilbert Plains and Ethelbert Fire Departments also attended along with Manitoba Conservation and the Office of the Fire Commissioner for that one. We also had 17 false alarms. All of those were within the city limits. Some outdoor fires, it was a split. We had 2 in the RM, 2 within the city limits. The 2 in the city limits were the long grass along the Vermilion River, where somebody had ignited some stuff down there. We had 10 kitchen fires, 1 in the RM, 9 in the city, 5 structure fires, and some of those were large loss structure fires, residential homes. But we also include a couple of electrical fires that we've had within homes. They don't classify as a kitchen fire because they're not on a stovetop, but rather from an outlet that, had it not been caught, could have resulted in a total structure fire. 26 motor vehicle collisions this year so far. 2 vehicle fires, 1 carbon monoxide alarm, and then we had 7 other calls from EMS assist to a water rescue that was out in the RM that turned out in a happy ending. And then, of course, the 1 mutual aid response that we talked about earlier. When it comes to our training, due to the COVID-19 guidelines that were brought out earlier this year, we had to make some modifications. We would limit the amount of time that our firefighters spent on a Wednesday night together in one area to approximately 5 minutes, just to do a bullpen review on the previous 7 days' calls, so that we can find out if all equipment is operating properly, if there was anything that we need to improve on. And then we would break everybody into smaller groups. So we would keep to the 10 or less rule and have some people in the classroom taking some theory-based training. And then we would have some others at Dauphin Rec Services allowed us to use their grounds over there for doing some side-by-side training with our UTV and getting everybody used to how to load and unload it properly, how to tie it down once it's on the trailer so that we can ensure that we have safe travels with it. The portable pumps, so we were doing water shuttle operations and having some of our firefighters get familiar with the water tanker and how to establish a portable water source. And then we had some other firefighters that were doing our annual hose testing on the floor on the apparatus bays. So we were able to maintain those 10 or less rules and keep everybody separated while still training to serve our citizens. As well, our level 1, level 2 class that started in September of last year, we were faced with exam cancellations. So these individuals had put in quite a few hours once a week for 3 hours a week, and the odd Saturday or Sunday here and there, getting ready for exams, and then we're told exams are canceled, and we don't know when they're going to be. So we put it to our firefighters that were in the training, and because we originally started out with 12, but then we got down to 10, so it kind of met our parameters, and we were able to maintain the 2-meter rule for separation of everybody. We asked them, do you want to continue training or do you want to pause training until we can find a date for practical exams? And they all elected to continue the training, that they wanted to keep going regardless. And that was 8 of our members, 1 from Gilbert Plains, 1 from Ochre River. An interesting point is that when we started the level 1 training, we had 2 from Ochre River. One of them moved within the city of Dauphin for work, so we gained a firefighter that way, which was a bonus for us, and unfortunate for Lakeview. But so they kept on going, and then the middle of June, we received notification that June 22nd, the practical exams would happen in Brandon, and they test 40 people per day. 40 on a Saturday, 40 on a Sunday. And we were lucky enough to get our 10 individuals in for the Saturday afternoon. Happy to say that 9 of the 10 were successful on that first Saturday. and the one from Gilbert Plains had to go back for his retest the following week, but he was successful. That first weekend had a 70% failure rate out of the 80 students that were tested that weekend. So we're very fortunate that our firefighters are so successful and know their skills. So kudos to them on a job well done. They now have their written exams to follow up on, and we've made arrangements with the Manitoba Emergency Services College and Mountain View School Division to have the exams done here in Dauphin, so we don't have to have them all travel to Brandon as per the past number of years. And thank you to Superintendent and the Assistant Superintendent that have volunteered to proctor those exams for us. We've also started planning now for our 2020-2021 Level 1 and Level 2 classes with a start date of Thursday, September 10th. And we've already had interest from some outside departments within our mutual aid district, specifically Gilbert Plains, Oka River, and Sifton, where they're interested in sending their firefighters for Level 1 training. And as well as we're going to have 3 of our current members of DFD start into the new Level 1 that they weren't able to join up last September. They've joined since that time. And 6 members to start the Level 2 program. So the 2 that successfully completed their Level 1 just recently, and then 4 others that have been, waiting to finish exams before they qualified for the Level 2. We're also looking for new dates to be announced from the Manitoba Emergency Services College for other training opportunities. We had some items that were booked here. There was a school bus rescue seminar that was booked for Dauphin for the mutual aid district, and that is a mass casualty incident training scenario. And we had been looking at booking some pump operations courses, but more specifically, there's a redeveloped program called the Incident Safety Officer. So the Emergency Services College offers a 40-hour Monday to Friday IFSAC accredited program in the Incident Safety Officer program, which is hard for rural fire departments to take part in, because now paid on call firefighters would have to take vacation time from their full-time careers in order to attend. The College Advisory Committee redeveloped the 16-hour weekend program. So it's a condensed version that used to be offered at Fall Conference every October in Brandon, but since the Fall Conference hasn't happened for several years, a request was made by yours truly to bring this program back to rural Manitoba, and they have. So because it was my request, they asked that we would be the pilot program for the province as well. And that was slated for May, but now due to the COVID-19 pandemic, that too was postponed, and we're trying to arrange a new date. So hopefully we can get that up and going again. And the college has also asked that I become one of their instructors for this, for the Provincial Fire Service. So really hoping that we can get this up and off the ground. Information-wise, if you remember from our 2020 budgeting and in our capital plan that was approved earlier this year, we had the half-ton / 3/4 ton. We weren't sure exactly what we needed to suit our needs, but we managed to secure a half-ton for the fire department's use. And if you look out the window, I brought it over and parked it outside. If anybody wanted to see it, it still has to go for the lighting and radio installation, which it'll be going to Winnipeg on Monday the 20th, and it'll be there for approximately a week for all the wiring stuff to be done. But we did send that RFP out to the 5 different packages to the different dealerships in town. We had 7 that were returned, and we ended up deciding on a 2017 Ford F-150. So it was a pre-used unit, but in very good condition with still a year of warranty left on it. And even with the additional equipment of the decals, lights, siren, radio included, we expect that the total cost will be well below the budgeted amount that we had within our capital plan. Just to highlight what this vehicle is going to be used for, it'll be a command post for the majority of the incidents. Several years ago, when we started purchasing the new self-contained breathing apparatus or the air packs that we wear, we had some accountability software programmed into those units, which allows us to track each individual firefighter that's wearing one, how much air they breathe through there. It doesn't give us a specific location, but it allows us from a laptop to announce a Mayday procedure where it rings straight to their SCBA. You don't have to worry about missing a radio call. You can't miss that alarm when it's notified on that unit. It was just some inherent safety features that we programmed into it at that time. A couple of years later, we bought the laptop to work with all that software. And now we actually have a piece of equipment that the laptop can go into, and it would be permanently mounted in there. So in baby steps, we're getting better and better all the time. So besides just being a command vehicle, it'll also be used to haul equipment and personnel to and from incidents. We can use it now to haul the various trailers that we have. As you know, we have 2 water rescue boats, an enclosed trailer for our technical rescue equipment, the public education trailer that belongs to the mutual aid district, and the list can go on. So it'll also be used on a day-to-day basis for the fire and life safety inspections and public education opportunities that we participate in. It was a long list, but I would entertain any questions you may have.
Thank you for your comprehensive report. And I just wanted to congratulate the members who passed, but I think it has a lot to do with the trainer. So congratulations to you. I always feel if your class passes, that has a lot to do with the instructors and also engagement of the participants. So congratulations on that. I also wanted to get clarification on, you mentioned about, you know, response being lower. What about kitchen fires? Have they, and structure fires, have they reduced from previous years?
Yes, both of those have dropped. So when COVID-19 came into play, we were warned by higher authorities that there would be an increase in outdoor fires or our grass fires because people are now home and they're unable to go to work. And whereas I thought our kitchen fires were going to go through the roof, right? Because we always had kitchen fires, and I talk about that every time I come to report, but our kitchen fires went down. So I think in some of those things that people were stuck at home doing, maybe there were some cooking lessons that were happening, or people weren't leaving their cooking unattended as in previous periods of time. But yeah, it was down. Our structure fires, that's always a real variable. We can never predict what that's going to be like. But yes, they were down for this first half of the year as compared to previous years as well. And if I could just touch on the training, we do have several instructors within the department. We encourage each one of our officers, so the 3 captains, the 3 lieutenants, and our deputy chief, to also get their certification as an emergency services instructor. So I really have a lot of thanks to the entire team because we broke the 200-hour program, and my memory fails me as to how many blocks there are total. I think it's either 29 or 32 chapters that we cover throughout the program, that the majority of them took 4 chapters each. And I think I took 7 or something like that. But, you know, it's a real team effort. It's all the instructors coming together and, you know, the enthusiasm of new firefighters wanting to join in and participate and learn some new skills as well.
And it definitely shows. So thank you very much for all the hard work that was put by yourself and the rest of your team. Congratulations.
Any other questions, Deputy?
Can you just, are the vehicle collisions, have those increased at all?
Actually, no. That's right on par, and we're 1 festival down. So usually we see a slight increase in our motor vehicle collisions as the town becomes busier, the city becomes busier. So with Country Fest not occurring this year, it seems that we're still on par for our vehicle response. And, you know, we'll see what August brings, whether we have an actual decrease or not, because we usually see that influx of traffic during Ukrainian Festival and the street fair as well.
Okay, and the other thing, Cam, I just want to, following your Facebook page, I'm all up to date. So just want to commend you for keeping us all in the loop. And the other question I have, maybe you could just make a comment. I know I spoke to you. We were trying to find a backyard fire pit, and I called you to ask about some requirements, and I thought that maybe that would be interesting for the rest of the community. Can you just comment on that?
Sure, I'll try to go off of memory. But the backyard fire pits, we don't encourage the old tire rim that everybody used to have for a backyard fire pit. There are regulations and there are dimensions to follow, and there is a guideline that is available on the City of Dawfin's website, and we can forward it to you. We've posted it on both the City of Dawfin's social media and our social media through Dauphin Fire Department. But the basics are, if you buy a commercial fire pit, whether it's a chimney, fire bowl, whatever name it goes by, and it has the screen that's used for a spark arrestor, you keep 10-foot minimum distances from any kind of a structure, trees, no overhanging wires or branches, anything like that. Have it on a nice solid base, not just on the grass where, you know, it dries out the grass and can now start a grass fire in your backyard. And you're only burning dry season firewood, no treated lumber, no garbage, no leaves, no garden waste, anything like that. Be conscious of your neighbors as well, that if the smoke is drifting and there is quite a bit of smoke, whether it's due to wet firewood or whatever it may be, take your neighbors into consideration, and know that the smoke can be bothering them. You do have fresh air intake on your house, whether it's through your furnace or your AC or whatever it may be. People like to leave their windows open in the summertime, that you don't have smoke drifting that way. So be neighborly. If the smoke is bothering you, approach your neighbors. You know, if there's tension there, then you can call the fire department at 622-3100 and we'll follow up on it. But the first step is always talk to your neighbors and see and let them know that something is bothering you about it. But don't leave your fires unattended. Have a garden hose or a pail of water or a pail of sand ready to extinguish. Never leave it unattended. Don't go in the house at the end of the night, kind of deal. So.
Yes, you had mentioned that you're doing another set of training. So where are we at with the number of firefighters that we have for our local fire department? Are we happy with that number? Because I know there's some comings and goings based on people's jobs, etc.
Yeah, that's another great point, is that we are unfortunately down a few members. We try to maintain 36 members, and the basis for that is during the summer months, we come up with an on-call crew, and that has been there since the dawn of time, I believe. As far as I look back, there's always been summer on-call. We divide the department into 3 different platoons or groups with 12 firefighters per weekend, and that's where we've derived that 36 number from. We're down to about 32 right now due to recent retirements, and congratulations to those individuals that have, you know, decided that it's time to move on. Ryan Clyde had over 20 years. David McInnes had, I believe, over 15 years. And our most recent retirement was Stuart Sinclair, with Friday being his last day, that he's decided to retire and enjoy life. And Stuart as well, I believe, had over 15 years with the fire department. And then we've had a number of others that, due to work or family commitments, have decided to step aside. So we're always taking applications. We may hit that 36 where we put people on a wait list, but unfortunately it's not a career for a lot of individuals, and a lot of personal factors come into play that make them choose to step aside, or, you know, their time has been put in and they decide to retire as well. So if anybody's interested, again, on the City of Dawfin's website, we have a recruitment package there, and they can always phone or email the fire department and we'll try to answer their questions.
Thank you, and thank you for the all the educational opportunities you provide for people in our community, and the level of professionalism that you have when you run your department. One of the things that really impressed me is that the type of training that you do with these firefighters is the same training that firefighters in any major city get. So it's a pretty awesome opportunity to be able to get that training here in Dauphin.
It's a great feather in our cap to be able to offer that level of training, and that's, you know, one of our drawing cards is we encourage people that if you are willing to give us a couple of years of your time, we'll provide the same level of firefighter training. Of course, if you're looking at a career fire department, then you have to get your paramedic license as well, which is something that has to be done either in Winnipeg or Brandon. It's not available locally here yet. Hopefully there's something that may come to fruition out of that in the future, but
Yeah, we've had a few members that have moved on from us and joined career fire departments across Western Canada.
Any other questions from councillors? Thank you, Fire Chief Avery. We're very proud of the fire department and the training and the equipment. I think we have a first-class operation going, and continued success in your operations, and also you look different and continue. You're amazing. You quit smoking, you lose weight. I quit smoking a long time ago, but the weight, it always bothers me. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Hope you can get out there before you get wet. Okay, moved by Councillor Lockin, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the presentation by Fire Chief Cam Avery of the Dauphin Fire Department. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Lockin. Be it resolved that all items listed under item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. First one, outstanding water accounts added to taxes, $434.58, 19 Memorial Boulevard. Previous owner did not pay final utility bill. And $73.14, 27 6th Avenue Northwest. Previous tenant did not pay final utility bill. Filing items as recommended by the Director of Finance and Utility Clerk. Now the filing items, AMM, Director's Update, June 2020, News Bulletin, July 3rd, Member Advisories on COVID, FCM Connect, June 23rd, 30th, and July 7th. Manitoba media releases, COVID-19 bulletins, and Economic Development and Training Province announces up to 4.2 million incentive for large-scale greenhouse in Parkland region. Mountain View News Digest, June 22nd, 2020. Growing Manitoba Ag, July 2020. Call to Recycling, June 20th. CN investing 105 million in Manitoba. Material Stewardship 2019 report. Firefighters Survey and Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs 2020 National Fire Chief of the Year Award. We can't do that this year, I guess. College of Social Workers open letter to police service. Okay, that doesn't sound good. Minister of Agriculture and Resource Development respond to mayor's corresponding regarding support for Vermilion growers. Van Otterloo thank you card and for the tree, I think it was, as recommended by the mayor and city manager. Any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Well, roof's not coming down. I guess we'll continue. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Lachlan. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the following corporate report for the July 13th, 2020 regular council meeting. That of the city manager. Any white stuff coming?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've been monitoring on my email of the warnings that came in, that are coming in, and literally as soon as I started talking, it said that the severe thunderstorm warning has ended. So I am not sure what that means.
Okay.
But thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the last 3 weeks that it's been since the last council meeting, I have attended several meetings, and I'm glad to say that only one of them was COVID related, and the rest are, business as usual, or what the new usual looks like. So that's great. But I will start my report with the COVID-19 update. Phase 3 has been in effect since September 22nd, and Manitoba has not had any new cases since July 29th. And I wrote this last week, and over the weekend there was no new cases again. So from history of the first and the second phase, we saw that the subsequent phase was 3 to 4 weeks after the announcement of that phase. So we're probably going to be waiting another week or so before we hear about phase 4. I've not heard any details about what that's going to look like, but we are hearing other provinces coming up with the next phase of reopening the province. So we will stay tuned to that. Right now, the city's operations will remain as is for now. Despite this overall low infection rate and high recovery rate in Manitoba, history does indicate that every pandemic has a second wave. So we are continuing discussions between the city and the RM of Dauphin through our Municipal Emergency Coordinator and Prairie Mountain Health and other agencies to ensure that our community is prepared. And I want to stress the word continuing. We were in communications with Prairie Mountain Health way back in March to make sure that we could, whatever we needed to do, we could do. And however we needed to prepare, we would do so. So we're continuing with that. Next thing I wanted to talk about was the airport. The airport has been taking up quite a bit of my time in the last 3 weeks and will continue to do so for most of the summer. We are doing a review of many documents. Some of them are the Airport Operations Manual, the Safety Management System Manual, the Airport Emergency Plan, and the Airport Wildlife Management Plan. And we're working with Transport Canada to ensure our documentation, reporting, and recording of those reports follows all of the regulations. Next is the strategic plan. So administration and council participated in a day-long strategic planning session on July 7th that involved a review of the work that we did on June 3rd. We also set the vision and mission for the city of Dauphin, and we worked on setting our goals for the municipality and identifying one or more strategy or objective for each goal. At the end of that July 7th session, administration committed to meeting to further develop the strategies and objectives based on the conversations that we had that day. Administration is set to meet on later this week on July 15th. And once we finish that task, we will again present to council to finalize the plan. Next was a very interesting, I guess it was only an hour, but it was a great hour. Councillor Bellemare and her husband, Regent, and I participated in a Brandon Chamber of Commerce virtual road trip to Dauphin. And there was about 15 people or so all on this Zoom call. It was hosted by Alix Kausel, Director of Member Relations with the Brandon Chamber, Executive Director Stephen Chakota with the Dauphin and District Chamber talked about our community and hosted a great trivia session in which I learned many different things. City's marketing coordinator did a great job of promoting many points of interest in and around Dauphin. The president of Canada's National Ukrainian Festival, Kayla Gillis, talked about that festival and that there is a big announcement coming later that evening. And it turned out to be that CNF was going to be hosting a virtual festival on August 1st. And Brenda Gregory, president of the Dauphin Derailers, talked about the Northgate project. So that's the bike trails. So the different difficulties of the bike trails, the trailhead project that's adding amenities like washrooms, a picnic area, and sleeping units. And with the current travel restrictions because of the pandemic, Travel Manitoba has shifted to promoting Manitoba to Manitobans. And Dauphin is following suit. So we're hoping to attract people from around Manitoba who didn't know about all the great things that Dauphin has to offer. And I will comment that the host from Brandon exclaimed, "I did not know there were so many things to do around Dauphin." So that was great to get some of that word out. And lastly, I wanted to comment about Under One Roof. So I flexed some time on Monday, July 6th to volunteer with the Under One Roof program. That night, they provided 168 meals to people in need, and that was through delivery and takeout, as well as they provided some harm reduction items and personal care packages. During the last few months, since the beginning of the pandemic or the middle of March, participation in the meal program increased from about 75 to about 170 meals on Monday evenings. The former format allowed people to congregate at the United Church and enjoy a hot meal and to access services, enjoy fellowship, celebrate holidays, and have some fun with crafts, games, and singing. Unfortunately, because of social distancing, the service provider restrictions, it's not possible to congregate, and many of these services are not available. The organizers, which is the Crisis Prevention Task Force, is working with a local lawyer to incorporate the group into a nonprofit organization so they can access grant funding and options and do some more fundraising. They reiterated that evening several times that without the funding from the City of Dauphin for 2020, they would not have been able to provide the service that they are doing to the community to this increased capacity over the last few months. So they did want me to pass along a thank you to Council. And that concludes my report.
Any questions of the city manager? Hearing none, seeing none, hearing. I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Riel, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information. The report of the ICT manager. He's been very busy. And any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Sticilo. Be it resolved that finance accounts be examined by council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. Checks numbers 26700 to 26800. 101 checks for $787.75. The electronic payments, there's 7 of them for $182,443.79, mainly payroll and some postage meter. Some larger checks, one to Canadian Indicoat for $129,875.07. That's the water line lining project on Park Crescent. The July rec services grant of $141,124.05. Flowcore chemical, just chemical inventory for the water treatment plant of $86,932.38. Manitoba Hydro, $18,042.08, and that's remember there's $14,743.08 each month for city lights, street lights. The Manitoba Finance, the landfill levy $28,919.05. The source deductions of $39,286, and OSS for $19,408. And the others are source deductions checks. So any questions of the accounts? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, second by Councillor Lachlan. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the unaudited financial statements before FASB for the period ending April 30th, 2020, that of the general fund, balance sheet and income statement, and utility fund balance sheet and income statement. Any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council accepts information for the unaudited financial statements for the end of May 31st, 2020, general fund balance sheet and income statement, and utility fund balance sheet and utility. Any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Lachlan, seconded by Deputy Mayor Riel. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the reserve reports for April 2020 and May 2020. We're in good standing on our reserves yet. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor, I guess, Kylo, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information engineering for July 13th out of the construction and maintenance foreman. Any questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Lachlan. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the minutes and reports of the following: Intermountain Watershed Board meeting of May 5th, Conservation Standing Committee of May 20th, Dauphin and Region Immigrant Services, summary of the 2019-20 program year, Crisis Prevention Task Force report to the City of Dauphin of July 8, 2020, the Vet Board Services Board Annual and General Meeting of November 7th, 2019. Just on the Vet Services Board, we're realigning it, and we have a meeting scheduled for July the 21st? July 21st at 1 o'clock at City Hall. So those invitations go out to, when will they go out? Thursday? All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Whereas due notice was given with respect to conditional use application 1203-1100-600/CU-20-01/02, and whereas one objection was received to the application during the public hearing on June 22nd, 2020. Be it resolved that conditional use application 1203-1100-600/CU-20-01/02 for owner applicant 118-14630 Canada Limited, care of Natalie Wilkinson for lot 1819, block 44, plan 336, DLTO 506 Main Street South, to allow a funeral home use in a commercial central zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw, be approved with the following conditions. Prior to allowing occupancy, a building code analysis is required to be submitted with an architectural style floor plan drawing showing existing buildings and room layout to determine if the building meets minimum fire and safety and accessibility standards for the proposed new use and occupancy. A building permit will be required from the City of Dauphin for any construction renovations identified with the building code analysis. Construction drawings will be required to be submitted and include professional engineer design stamp drawings where renovations are required. Any new signage proposed for the building will also be required to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 04/2015. The owner must provide sufficient documentation that the premises meets the Funeral Directors and Embalmers Provincial Act and regulations, licensing and operation requirements. Any residency occupancy must comply with the City of Dauphin bylaw 04/2015 and building code. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Lachlan, whereas the AMM solicits resolutions from municipalities to determine the priority issues for lobbying activities and policies. Be it resolved that the City of Dauphin submits the following Category 1 municipal issue resolution to the be reviewed by the AMM Resolutions Committee and then forwarded to the AMM Annual Convention in November 2020, maintaining public services in local communities. Whereas centralization of provincial, Crown agencies and health services is a significant challenge in the delivery of services in communities outside Winnipeg and affects the quality of public services, employment, and economy of impacted communities. And whereas at least 40% of Manitoba's population resides outside of Winnipeg, and whereas many provincial, Crown agency, and health services are removed or allocated from municipalities and centralized within the City of Winnipeg, and whereas municipalities outside of Winnipeg are suffering and local needs are not being met to reduce access to services and eliminated or vacant employment positions, and whereas the continued centralization of services and closing to much needed public services could be detrimental to the growth and survival of our communities and wellness of our residents, and whereas centralizing services into one population center with limited or no distributed additional capacity makes essential public services less resilient to the impacts of pandemics and natural disaster events, be it resolved that the Association of AMM lobby the provincial government to discontinue the practice of removing and reducing provincial, Crown agency, and health services in communities outside of Winnipeg, and work with municipalities to find cost-effective ways of maintaining service, delivery, and employment in local communities. Which means quit what you're doing. Any questions? Was this written by AMM? Or you did it? No? Ready?
So this resolution, we just had a few comments that it was well worded. It was written in conjunction with Deputy City Manager Renee Sigurdsson and City Manager from Selkirk, Dwayne Nickel.
Oh.
I believe Selkirk also saw reduction in government job opportunities a week or so before the announcement of the closure of Dauphin Correctional Center. So we both were very eager to put something like this forward.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's a very apropos. So, Councillor Anders, I'm sorry.
Yes, when we had our strategic planning, there was some resolutions that we wanted to put forward to the province. Are we going to have a meeting on writing some of those or putting forward some of the resolutions that were suggested?
So Councillor Eilers, when staff meets on Wednesday, we'll take a look at what some of those immediate action items can be.
And to AMM, Category 1 municipal issues, snow removal agreements for provincial highway and road maintenance, whereas Manitoba Infrastructure's MI is responsible for maintaining provincial roads and highways within municipal boundaries, and whereas Municipal previously maintained provincial roads and highways and billed MI for their services according to the municipal standard billing rates, and whereas MI has now required municipalities to enter into agreements for the municipalities to provide snow removal maintenance based on predetermined lump sum of payment, and whereas the funds proposed by MI are significantly lower than actual costs incurred by municipalities, and maintenance by municipalities is not possible without serious financial hardships to ratepayers and municipalities, be it resolved the AMM lobby the provincial government to review snow removal agreements with municipalities and maintain provincial highways and roads and negotiated fair and sufficient payment for municipal services. And we certainly know what happened to the city of Dauphin on that one. So any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Larkin, second by Councillor Juba, whereas seniors and persons with disabilities require appropriate, affordable, and accessible transportation services when they need it, especially in rural areas where options are limited. And whereas the handyvan program, such as the Dauphin and District Handyvan Association, provides support to communities to sustain the quality of life for seniors and persons with disabilities, and whereas provincial funding for handyvan programs remain largely unchanged since the inception of the program is insufficient to meet the increasing operation costs. And whereas the RM of Dauphin submitted Resolution 16, 2018 to the association 2018 convention to lobby the provincial government to support and enhance transportations to ensure their sustainability, and to our knowledge, there was no increase in support or funding. Be it resolved that City Council accepts as information a memorandum from the Deputy City Manager dated July 10th, 2020, advising AMM Resolution 16, 2018, requesting the AMM lobby the provincial government to support and enhance accessible transportation programs, remain active and in the best course of action to write a letter to the AMM Board of Directors regarding the lack of progress on this issue. And further be it resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy Mayor's recommendation and directs administration to draft a letter to the AMM Board of Directors expressing our concerns that no progress has been made for increased funding and support for handy van programs since this resolution was brought forward in 2018. And certainly, I'm a member of the handy van board, and there is definitely a lot of cost pressures on it. And the $40,000 grant that we received has not been changed, and it's starting to show on the financial statements. And I mentioned that to the Liberal leader here today, so he said he's looking into it. And I mentioned it to the NDP leader, so they're looking into it, so we'll see what happens. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Whereas Council is in receipt of a memo dated July 7, 2020 from Lisa Godet, Executive Assistant, requesting approval to enroll in the Manitoba Municipal Administrator Program at the University of Manitoba. And whereas Council at the regular meeting of September 12, 2005 passed a resolution authorizing clerical staff to be reimbursed for tuition, fees, books, and travel expenses required by the U of M course in the Certificate of Manitoba Municipal Administration Program, and that courses be made available to others upon request. Be it resolved that Council reimburses Lisa Godet for tuition, fees, books, and travel expenses required by the U of M for courses in the Certificate of Manitoba Municipal Administration Program upon successful completion of each course in the program. So your work is cut out. Oh, wait, we got to pass it first. Any questions?
Thank you.
All in favor? Well, I thought everybody was.
No, thank you.
Okay. Unanimous. Moved by Deputy Mayor Riel, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that the Council of the City of Dauphin directs staff to apply for a grant opportunity from FCM Municipal Asset Management Program for asset management, program development, data collection, and reporting. Further be it resolved that the City of Dauphin commits to conducting the following activities in the proposed project submitted to the FCM Municipal Asset Management Program to advance our asset management program. The asset management program development, develop central asset registry, and data collection and reporting. Further be it resolved that the City of Dauphin commits $142,580 from its budget toward the cost of the initiative. So that So we're applying for funding to get this money back.
I want to ask Bill if he wants to help describe it.
Bill. Bill.
Yes, yeah, hello, hello. Can you guys hear
This,
me?
the asset management program.
Yes.
The 142,580. That's you've outlined three items. That's to get money back for the development of this.
That's correct. So
Okay.
the asset management grant is $50,000 that we can get back towards this. I sent you a separate memo about it. The majority of the costs of this are our existing staff time, which we normally can't put towards grant money, but in this case we can, which is fantastic.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bill. Any questions of councillors? Call the questions. All in favor? Program approved. Moved by Councillor Loughlin, second by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that bylaw 10/2020 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin, amending bylaw 02209 for the regulation and control of traffic and parking in the City of Dauphin, replacing yield signs with stop signs, be now read for a first time. Any questions? That's the one on Pioneer, or yeah. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, second by Councillor Loughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the invitation and event listed below. The AMM annual conference on going to be a one-day affair, and it's all virtual. So we're spending nothing, I guess. Well, you just got to register. And community events, the July 1st fireworks were deferred till September 6th, 2020, and that's due to COVID-19. So it'll be on the Monday and the Labor Day long weekend at dusk someplace. And there, I don't know whether to mention July 15th. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. It's Sunday night. Yeah. So now we move to councillor privileges, and we'll start with Councillor Loughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On June the 22nd, I attended the regular council meeting here at City Hall. 4 days later, on June the 26th, I attended the provincial government announcement at the Vermilion Growers site just north of town. Congrats to Vermilion Growers on the announcement. Excited to see the progress, or see more progress on the site in the coming weeks and months there. June 29th, a few days later, I was at the meeting here at City Hall with the NDP Justice Critic, and a handful of councillors were there as well. Some good questions asked on that one. July the 7th, I attended part 2 of our 3-part strategic planning sessions, this time at the Aspen Lodge at the Parkland Rec Complex. Thanks to, again, Brian and Ember, along with the rest of the city staff, for putting that on last week. And then earlier today, I had a chance to attend with the mayor here at City Hall. We had a meeting with the provincial Liberal leader, Dugald Lamont, and Kathy Schofield Singh, the representative for this area. That was a very good session as well, and that does it for my report.
Thank you, Councillor Loughlin. Councillor Stakilo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. For myself, June 22nd, I was in attendance virtually for the regular council meeting. June 24th, we had a Dauphin Rec Board meeting. I just want to say great work by the staff to ensure safety over the past few months, and great work continuing forward as they've developed a plan to keep everybody safe that are utilizing the facilities and such. As many of you know, the Kinsman Aquatic Center is open, as well as the Vermilion Sportsplex and the playgrounds. The campground opened on July 29th with limited capacity. Also, the Splash Park is up and running. August 1st, the staff will start the ice plant and the cup, and the hope is to have everything ready for around August 10th or 11th at this point. On June 26th, I was also in attendance for the Vermilion Growers MWCI announcement. It's great to see the province of Manitoba get behind the Vermilion Growers project by announcing a $4.2 million rebate through their Manitoba Works Capital Incentive Program. Congratulations to all those involved in the project, and it's wonderful to see the progress that is taking place. For Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal Corporation, we've had a few meetings, sort of informal meetings. As many of you are aware, Mary Meyer has stepped down as Executive Director of Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal. I just want to thank Mary Meyer for all her hard work and dedication to the Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal and wish her well in her future endeavors. With that, the DNRC is currently recruiting for a new executive director. So if anyone is interested in getting more information, please visit the DNR website or their Facebook page for further information regarding the position. I just wanted to make a note that July 15th, the DNRC will be holding their AGM at 12 noon at CN Park, which is at First Avenue Northwest. Please plan to attend, and if you do, please bring a lawn chair. If the weather is not favorable, the rain location is Aspen Lodge at the Dauphin Rec Center. And then on July 23rd, the Dauphin Chamber of Commerce is holding another one of their lunch and learn programs, seminars from 12 noon to 1 p.m. The session will be hosted by Carissa and Brianne of the Hub. It's a session geared towards new business owners, potential business owners, or anyone currently involved in business. It is designed to leave the participants with insight, tools, and connections to help them take action for their best year yet. The session will be hosted at the new location of the Hub, which is at 512 Main Street North, with a capacity limit of 10 participants. Additional participants are very much welcomed virtually. So if you are planning to attend, if you are one of the first 10, you'll be able to get a glimpse of the new Hub office. And I have not been in it myself, but I've seen some plans and some photos, and it looks fantastic. And with that, that ends my report. Thanks.
Thanks. Councillor Stakila, been asked by Councillor Eilers when is the AGM?
For Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal?
Yeah.
July 15th this week.
At noon, right?
Correct. CN Park.
CN Park. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. On June 22nd, I attended the City Council meeting. On June 25th, I participated in the Enroll's webinar at the Climate Interaction, including food sustainability. It was a good practice, but there was a lot of comments that we couldn't make, so it was more a listening mode than actually interactive as we had hoped it would be. On June 26th, I also attended the Vermilion Growers announcement, read the Manitoba Capital Incentive. On June 29th, I also attended the meeting here with NDP critics, and I'm not going to go through the names because I realized I can't, but it was with Sasha, Nana, and Zuma, and they are the NDP justice critics. I feel that there was really good discussion on issues that pertain to Dauphin. On July the 7th, I participated in the City of Dauphin Strategical Planning Day Session. This is the second one we've had, and there will be a third one later on. I was on holidays July 8th to the 12th, and I want to offer my condolences to George Fisher's family. George was very involved in many community organizations, especially related to agriculture. Example is Pool Elevator. He sat on the board, and Manitoba Seed Growers, as well as he was with our local school board. So really sad on his passing. And that ends my report.
Ooh. Is the green light on? I don't think it's. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. June 22nd, I attended the regular City Council meeting here, or actually joined by virtual from home. And July the 7th, I attended the strategic plan meeting at Aspen Lodge, along with most of the other council and with administration as well. It was well organized. And for community events, spent July the 1st at our Habitat for Humanity lodge. Also had an opportunity to watch the Classic Car Parade, and I attended the CN Park celebration. So other than that, I've been really busy at work. We're short-staffed, so we've been working hard to look after our residents. So that's my report.
Thank you. On June 26th, I too attended the announcement at Vermilion Growers of the tax rebate that the provincial government has worked out with them. So it's great to see the province supporting this important initiative. The 29th, I attended the City Hall meeting with the two MLAs from the NDP, where we discussed several issues in the field of justice. On the 7th, I attended the strategic plan workshop with the other elected officials and the staff, and we developed a mission statement and a vision. They're hard to do, but we got them done, and that certainly is the backbone on which we will build. I appreciated the opportunity to talk about key issues and begin making plans to address items that are important to our council, to be continued. On July the 8th, I attended the virtual road tour happy hour that the Chamber of Commerce in Brandon is organizing. They have a series of tours to various communities in the province. And Amber Kucher, who is our tourism and special events coordinator for the City of Dauphin, did a great job outlining all that there is to do in our community, and it's a very long list. There are several people online, and there were very many positive comments about the information that Amber shared. Also, Stephen Chakota, the executive director of our local chamber, did a great job developing trivia questions, and he had all kinds of visuals that looked great, and yeah, it was lots of fun. The 25th, I attended the online climate simulation. Our local group, CCL, which stands for Citizens Climate Lobby, organized this event. And the model is called En-ROADS, and it's an interactive model that they used. And it was fascinating to see how, if we can make certain changes, there can be significant impacts on our climate. Key factors that were addressed in the model are carbon taxes, use of alternate energy methods such as solar panels, renovating buildings so they're more energy efficient, and etc. In order to get a handle on climate change, it's important to keep the Earth's temperature from rising too much. And upcoming on Wednesday, the Manitoba Métis government is hosting a fireworks display in Dauphin at 10:45 p.m. In fact, they're sponsoring fireworks at the same time at several locations in Manitoba, from Winnipeg to Churchill. And they're doing this in honor of Manitoba becoming the 5th province to enter Confederation. Plus, they are honoring the role of the Métis in this process. And of course, you're reminded to follow physical distancing protocols so everyone stays safe. And of course, that's sort of the lead up to September 6th when we have the city fireworks. So things to look forward to. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Rio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. June 22nd, I attended the regular council meeting here at City Hall. June 23rd, we had an interesting session here at City Hall with Immigration Services, who now are Regional Connections Immigration Services. So we had representation from Winnipeg, Portage, Dauphin, and Russell, and an excellent discussion about an hour and a half around immigration and their point system, and how Morden is the leader in immigration, having people come into their community. So that's something that we're going to follow up with. We have in 2019 to 2020, the program year, we had 237 different families relocate here. 26% were from the Philippines, 17% from India, 57% from Nicaragua, Brazil, Serbia, China, Vietnam, Ukraine, and Pakistan. So they do a lot of excellent work. Very interesting. I have to say, I learned a lot. After that night, I went on a quest and talked to a few immigrants in the community, and one person who's a chemical engineer who is here working at 3 different locations, and eventually he will relocate. He's a chemical engineer, and just no work for him here. So it was very interesting to then I went out and sort of talked to a lot of the immigrants and why they're here, and a lot of it was the quality of life they can have in Dauphin compared to where they come from. June 24th, I attended a CMNCP, which is a crime prevention municipal network, and we had a session around the topic of defunding the police. And it was an excellent session. It's a lot more involved than I have time for. But if anyone's interested in that discussion, they can feel free to contact me. June 26th, attended a rural Manitoba economic development meeting with Minister Eichler and Chuck Davidson, who is the co-chair for rural economic development, as well as Joe Massey, who is also the co-chair. There were 50 people in attendance from various stakeholders in the different rural communities, and very good discussion, roundtable discussion around economic opportunity in the rural. That was supposed to be held in February or March, and so we were a little behind, and very good session. June 29th, we had a meeting here with the NDP Justice Critic, as was mentioned, with Nahani Fontaine, Uzoma Asagwara, and Sasha Golding. We had a discussion around restorative justice, rehabilitation, the justice system, and the importance of building relationships with different stakeholders and different groups. July 1st, I attended the Classic Car Parade. Thank you to that group for putting on the parade. Just wouldn't have been the same without some sort of parade in our community. So thank you for picking up the gap in that day for us. July 7th, I attended with the others a strategic planning session with City Hall. Looking forward to moving forward with that. And today I attended a session with the Crisis Prevention Task Force and the Liberal MP Dugald Lamont at the United Church. And again, a lot of good conversation around some of the work that the Under One Roof and the Crisis Prevention Task Force is doing. I would also like to thank Mary Meyer for her dedication and her contribution to Dauphin neighborhood renewal in our community. She's done a lot of excellent work with and made a huge difference in our community. So thank you, Mary, for that. I'd also like to thank the Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal for the work that they're doing in the community gardens. If you're not following, please follow along their Facebook page. They've got activities for youth. They've hired 2 summer students, and they've got activities for youth almost every day over at the community gardens. Today we made grass seed heads out of nylons. So thank you for that, and here ends my report.
Thank you, everybody, for your diligent and hard work on behalf of the citizens of Dauphin. I'm just getting back into the groove here. Excited the way the strategic planning process is going. We should have one in place shortly, and I think that will guide our community for years to come. I attended the Vermilion Grove, or I spoke at the Vermilion Groves announcement. And also that same day I spoke at the dedication of Accent Accounting, we called the Allard Building. It was good to see all, and George has done amazingly. He's a great accountant and excellent individual and a real community person. And also the economic development presentation at the 8th Avenue Hall, and my low expectations were met. The NDP, and coupled with the Liberal, everybody's we're talking issues that the city of Dauphin is facing, and keeping all parties informed on where we stand on a lot of issues, and we'll see what comes out of it. I thank the city staff for the huge fruit basket that I received. Like my body had to readjust to a new diet because of that. And thank you very much for your thoughtfulness, and made me feel like I was still part of the process. And thank you. Moved by Councillor Laughlin and seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council meeting be recessed at 6:50.